if you're new to the virtual or executive assistant world and you're planning to shift careers in this industry, then you might want to know what roles and tasks you'll most likely have, especially if you're not familiar with what a virtual or executive assistant do. So in this video, I will be discussing my top 5 tasks as an executive assistant. So without further ado, let's start. For those of you who have been following me, I think you know that I work with Athena. It's an agency in the Philippines which hires executive assistants, but I've not updated you with my latest happenings. So I resigned from Athena because I had to take a course which will require a lot of my time and hindi ko sila mapapagsabay. So I decided to let go of my role or position with Athena. Anyways, during my time in Athena, I did several tasks, a lot of tasks for the client. But my main ones are 1. Inbox management, 2. Calendar management, 3. Doing the minutes of the meeting, 4. Administrative support, and lastly is general and travel research. You have to take note though that the executive assistant role is not a one definition fits all type of role, meaning the tasks and activities of one EA will not always be the same with another EA. Each tasks are unique depending on the client requirements. So with that said, let's dive deeper to the tasks and the activities I personally did for the client. Number 1 is inbox management. This is the most common task an executive assistant will have. This is basically you managing your client's emails, may it be personal, work, or both. Inbox management has 2 main components. 1 is inbox sweep, where you clean and label your client's inbox or emails to sort them based on their categories. And number 2 is email drafting. As for the email drafting, this is not something that might be given to you as a task soon, because this requires trust and strong partnership between you and your client. This is basically you writing or drafting an email on behalf of your client. So with this, you have to learn what the language or the tone of your client's email so that you'll be able to write the draft as if the client is the one writing it. Both components are done multiple times daily. For example, for the inbox sweep, you'll do the sweep before your client starts their day. This way, when they check their email, everything's already sorted out. Only the important ones which need attention will be left. This will save them a ton of time checking each and every email. Most of the time, they just get newsletters, spams, and whatnot. Then another sweep will be done at the end of the day so that you sort everything, all the emails which came through or were received throughout the day. Again, this will depend on your client's preference. Sometimes they will ask you to do start of day and end of day inbox sweep, but sometimes they will ask you to do the sweep every 2 hours, like that. Alright, number 2 is calendar management. This, in my opinion, is the second most common task that an executive assistant will have. This is basically you managing the client's calendar. Again, may it be personal, work, or both. Some client would want you to manage their calendar, like editing, adding meetings, sorting, and whatnot early on in the partnership on their personal calendar itself, while some would not give you that privilege yet. In my case, my client was very particular with their calendar. So whenever I need to add a meeting, I had to do it on my personal calendar, add that specific meeting on my calendar, and just add them as participant. And that way it will show on mine and it will show in his calendar as well. But I was not given the access to edit and add meetings to his calendar. In calendar management, you can do a lot of things to manage the calendar. For example, you can sort the meetings out by color coding. For example, yellow would be for personal, blue would be for internal meetings, and purple for external meetings. Number 3 would be minutes of the meetings or meeting notes. This is one task that I've done a lot of times for the client. Some clients would want you to take note of the action plan only, while others would need a more detailed one. In my case, the latter. My client would use my notes as reference for future use, so I really had to take note of every single most important detail during the meeting. This is where you'll make good use of your typing and listening skills. Number 4 is administrative support. I was not only a support for my client, but I was also support for the whole company. I used to work with each department leaders, helping them with presentations via Google Slide or PowerPoint. Used to create reports, Excel reports, for example. I was not only a support for my client, but I was also support for the whole company. I used to work with each department leaders, helping them with anything that they needed. I used to create presentations via Google Slide or PowerPoint. I used to create reports, Excel reports, for example, like sales reports. I even did timesheet checking for payroll. All of these will again and again depend on your client's preference or whatever industry your client is in. So some might ask you to manage their social media, some might ask you to do a reporting for CRM and whatnot. Whether you're working with an agency or you're a freelancer, individual contractor, a client that you will be matched with will anyways indicate their requirements, and they will pick you or choose you if you're fit for their qualification and your expertise. So don't worry. And also, same with every company, you'll have training for this. You'll have a guide first. They will not ask you to do a specific task all by yourself first, hopefully. And lastly, my main 5th task is general and travel research. One of the tasks of an EA as well is research. Your client might ask you to look for or research for flights and hotels for their upcoming trip. And sometimes they will also ask you to book those tickets and hotels. They will also ask you to do personal research like house cleaners, carpenters, and the likes. There are a lot of websites you can use online for the research as a resource, and Google is always there at your disposal. So yeah, I think this task is pretty straightforward. So there you have it. These are my top 5 tasks as an executive assistant. Again, other EAs might have different tasks from mine, but I hope I've given you an idea on what you might have to face as an executive assistant. In the next videos, I will be explaining to you guys deeper each of these tasks that I've mentioned and probably give you some tips to make your life and your client's life easier. There you go. If you like this video, please give this a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Hit the bell icon as well to be notified whenever I upload a new video. So there you have it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!
With Asana, tasks and company-wide goals are in one place, so your teams understand Hello everybody and welcome to Executive Virtual Assistant Basics free webinar. Ayan, looks like I can talk in Taglish for today. So welcome to Executive Virtual Assistant Basics webinar. This is a 2-hour webinar or 1.5, so we can leave 30 minutes to answer your burning questions about how to become an Executive Virtual Assistant in 2024. Hold on, I'm just fixing our discount code. Perfect. Okay. Where are my slides? Okay, so no one commented English only, please. Perfect. Okay. If there's anyone who doesn't know how to speak Tagalog later on, just comment English only, please, and I'll try to speak more in English. Okay, so Executive Virtual Assistant Basics 2024, updated to na webinar because we learned so many new things for the past year that helped us to improve in our skill as an Executive Virtual Assistant or in our career. So let's start off by introducing myself first. For those who don't know, is new in my life, who doesn't know, who has never followed me before, well, my name is Mia, or Mia Juan. People call me MJ or Mia. I am an executive virtual assistant since 2021. Before being an EA, wala po akong experience sa freelancing, sa pagiging isang virtual assistant, or pagiging isang executive virtual assistant. My experience before was in the call center industry. So I've been working in the call center industry since 2005. And then if you're going to 2005, how old am I? I'm already 39 years old. I just turned 39 last month. So I'm almost 40. Exciting. But before that, or after years of working in the call center industry, in 2017, I started na my own business. So, it's my dream business, wedding and events planning. So, full-time work ko yon, wedding and events planning. But then, 2020 came and nagkaroon ng pandemic. So, unfortunately, yung events industry was the hardest hit na industry during that time. Kasi, syempre, hindi pwede yung mga events kasi maraming tao. So, since bago pa lang yung business ko, hindi ko siya masusustain. So, I decided to focus on looking for work from home. And then, I was fortunate enough naman na during that time, I saw a Facebook ad that there was a company hiring full-time work from home executive virtual assistants. And then, i-research ko, ano ba ang maging isang executive virtual assistant? Nagtingin ako ng mga tutorials sa YouTube, pero wala masyadong content creators pa during that time. Yung mga content creators na nakikita ko were those who are Americans. Kasi parang sa kanila medyo kilala na yung pagiging VA. And then during that time also, naisip ko na ang pagiging freelancer usually are reserved for the lucky few. So akala ko hindi talaga ako magkakaroon ng chance. Akala ko I just need really to go back to a call center who's currently offering work from home. Pero after I did my research kung ano ba yung executive VA, kasi yun yung opening, doon ko nakita na parang yung skills ko before in the call center industry combined with yung skills ko as a wedding and events planner is actually transferable to becoming an executive assistant. So later, maituturo ko sa inyo, ano ba yung mga transferable skills na yon na natutunan nyo before sa inyong career na hindi naman freelancing na pwede nyong i-transfer sa pagiging isang virtual assistant ngayon. So yeah, I took the chance, nag-apply ako, and then very lucky naman that, well, hindi naman lucky, I worked hard to research yung kung ano ba yung trabaho, ano yung skills na dapat matutunan sa pagiging isang EVA. So, nakuha ko naman yung work, and ever since then, I never got rematched. I've been working for my client for more than 2 years, and then I was promoted to an operations manager. And then when I was an operations manager, I handled a team of 15 executive virtual assistants plus their clients. And then now, after I left the agency, I went to a direct client, and then I just ended my contract with my client last week ko na sa kanya this week, and then starting mid-September, I'll be an operations manager again, handling a team, hindi pa pala handling a team of EVAs, but I will be an operations manager for a hindi siya VA, sourcing, outsourcing company, ganyan. So, hindi, direct client pa din siya, pero I'll be coming in as an operations manager. Okay, so, that's me. Yun ang history ko sa pagiging executive virtual assistant. Walang experience, but now thriving in this role. And I will never go back. I'll never, even if yung may risks tayo ng freelancing, yung mawawalan ka ng client, katulad ng nangyari sa akin, I'll never go back to the corporate industry. It's just really not for me. I like being a freelancer or a VA. May mga nagtatanong sa glasses, nabili ko po sa Quiapo. Mother, if you're watching, paki-comment kung saan natin nabili to. This is 800 pesos kasama na yung lens. Sobrang mura sa Quiapo.
You sent in a proposal, but your manager has so many questions. Uh-oh. Let's try again with Grammarly. First, Grammarly's AI finds opportunities to help your ideas stand out.
Okay. So, what are we going to talk about for today? We're going to talk about yung mga definition of terms, especially for those that are new, doesn't have any experience or idea kung ano ba ang isang executive virtual assistant. Yung mga skills na kailangan yung matutunan as well as tools. Yung mga tools na to, these are the updated tools na you need to learn as an EVA right now to help you sa work na to. Oh, we have someone who kindly speak in English. Okay, I got you. I hope you're still here. If you're still here, please comment English only, please. I just saw your comment now. Okay, the next one or the next topic is the job platforms that you need to use for you to be able to create an online profile and where you can look for clients. Okay, so let's define the term first. So, if you're not familiar what an executive virtual assistant is, or what's the difference between an executive virtual assistant and your general VA or the virtual assistant, then here we go. So, first up, for executive virtual assistant, ang definition nito is a person employed to assist a high-level manager, meaning these are the executives, C-level executives, directors, company owners, with personal and administrative tasks. Okay? So, as an executive virtual assistant, you're doing two things for your client, personal and administrative or work tasks. So you're just not focusing on work tasks. Later on, when we talk about the skills, you will know what I'm talking about. Like, what are personal tasks, what are professional or administrative tasks. And the big difference, let's move on now. So at least now you have a high-level idea of what an executive virtual assistant is. And now we'll dive deep on, we'll talk about kung ano ba yung difference between your general VA and executive VA. Some people are asking if this is recorded. Yes, since we are live on Facebook, you will see this, I think a few minutes after I end the live. It's recorded on Facebook. And then we'll upload it also on YouTube. Okay, so let's compare. Ang kilala natin right now is general VA, diba? When you start off as general virtual assistant. My webinar a few weeks back was about general virtual assistant. So, yun yung parang entry level natin. If we don't have any experience, you can come in as a general VA so that you'll gain your experience. But if you are someone who already has experience or work experience before, you have transferable skills that will help you to become an executive virtual assistant, which is a higher level VA or niche. So, ang difference kasi nila, if you are coming in as a general VA, you're looking for a client who will tell you what to do. Okay? So, yung client na yon will tell you na, okay, these are the things that you need to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You will answer emails, you will make calls, you will submit this report, and that's it. deliver whatever it is that you need to deliver, and that's fine. If you need to do marketing, if you need to do a little bit of finance, admin work, blah blah blah, then that's it. Those are the things that you're going to do. So yun yung general VA. That's why if you are a general VA, you have the you can get multiple clients. Let's say 2 or 3. Ako, I would think maximum 2. So yeah, you can get multiple clients. Yes, you can ask questions here, and then I have Tracy helping out writing down your questions so that we can get to them later on. So just ask your questions.
Have you been sitting on a smart business idea and need to get it online?
Sample tasks, we'll get to that later. Okay, so general virtual assistant, ganon. So you just you just wait for your client to tell you what to do. Okay? Sa executive virtual assistant naman, ang difference talaga niyan is you help your client reach their goals. So si client is hiring you because you are an expert in inbox management, in calendar management. The client is looking for an executive assistant to help him manage his life, not just to be an order taker. Ganun ang executive virtual assistant. Yun yung big difference niya. That's why kung magkakaroon ka or titignan mo, i-compare mo yung onboarding call ng general VA to an executive virtual assistant, si general VA will be asking, okay, what are the things that I'm going to do for you? Ano yung schedule ko? What are the things, ang output ko? Kailan ko siya deadline? Kapag executive virtual assistant naman, ang discovery call or ang onboarding call niya is to ask yung client, saan ka nahihirapan? Anong problema mo sa calendar mo? Anong problema mo sa inbox mo? And then ikaw as an executive virtual assistant, iisipin mo ngayon kung paano mo tutulungan yung client. Ikaw yung magsasabi, okay, since something's wrong with your calendar, I'm going to fix your calendar for you. This is what your calendar will look like. Tapos ikaw yung sa inbox naman niya, ikaw din mag-aayos ng inbox niya. Ikaw yung mag-filter, mag-label to tell your client na, okay, we're going to reach inbox 0. I will leave yung unread messages dito, tas yan lang yung dapat pong basahin. So, ikaw yung actually nagte-take charge doon sa life ng client mo so that your client can focus on the bigger picture. Okay? Hindi ka nagka-come in or hindi ka naghihintay na uutusan ka. Ikaw yung actually maghahanap ng mga things that you can do for your client. That's what an executive assistant is. And yun yung big difference between a general VA or an EVA. Okay. So yeah, just post your questions in the chat. I'm getting all of the screenshots ng questions ninyo and then we'll get to that later on. Okay? I hope that's clear. Clear naman ang definition or ang difference natin for general VAs and EVAs, correct? Yes, clear? Say yes in the comment sections. May konting delay lang siya, but say yes. Okay. Yes, clear, perfect. Okay. So, next thing, let's talk about naman yung benefits ng pagiging isang virtual assistant. Kasi, di ba nagkaroon tayo ng big issue just the past few weeks na mas maganda daw. Oh, ang haba ng mga questions, Trace, paano na lang, pa-screenshot. Di ba nagkaroon tayo ng mga issues a few weeks back na hindi daw maganda. When you are a virtual assistant and you work from home, it makes you dumb every day. O, di ba? So, anong tawag dito? So, let's talk about ano ba yung benefits. Para hindi naman kayo maisipin nyo, hala, pag naging work from home pala ako or naging virtual assistant ako, mabobobo pala ako. No. Hindi naman sa ganon. But let's talk about the benefits. Ano ba yung benefits if you start working from home as an executive virtual assistant or a virtual assistant and a freelancer? Syempre, yung flexibility ng time nandiyan yan. Gusto talaga natin maging work from home kasi convenient, wala tayong traffic, less gastos, we have more time with family. And then, ang maganda din dito, if you are an executive VA, yung variety of tasks. Hindi ka puro repetitive task lang kasi you do a lot of things for your client, which you will find out later on once we talk about the skills. So you do a lot of different tasks for your client. That's why masaya maging EVA. The next thing naman, if you really focus on or if gusto mo maging full-time as a freelancer or a virtual assistant or an executive VA, you can be your own boss. Kasi tatandaan ninyo, if you decide to dive talaga and be a full-time executive virtual assistant or virtual assistant, this is already a business. So tatanggalin mo na yung employee mindset mo. Okay? If you want to be your own boss, you want to call your own shots, you want to earn X amount of money na ikaw magsasabi, ito yung gusto kong makuha, you already need to be, to have a business mindset or an entrepreneur mindset. Hindi ka na employee. Because you're selling your own services. Para ka ng online seller. You sell your own services online sa mga clients na looking to hire a VA. Yan. And of course, ang pinakamaganda sa lahat na benefits is we earn in dollars. Ngayon lang medyo malungkot ang mga virtual assistant. Yung mga virtual assistant dyan or mga freelancers dyan, alam nyo, bumababa na yung dollars. Dahan-dahan bumababa yung dollars. So medyo nalulungkot tayo. But still, anong tawag dito? It's still amazing that we earn in dollars. Diba? Instead of us na maghahanap pa ng trabaho sa ibang bansa, we can stay here, enjoy time with our family, but still able to earn in dollars. Yan. Okay, so those are the different benefits that you can get once you decide to become a VA or an EVA. Now, bakit naman siya good for Filipinos? Once we already know the benefits, iisipin natin ngayon na ang dami nang gusto maging virtual assistant. Bakit pa ako sasama sa wave na yan? Okay? That's because right now, according to Upwork, ang Filipino ay ang may pinakamalaking nado-dominate niya yung market ng virtual assistants. So, all of the foreigners are looking at the Philippines to hire VAs. That's because we have a very good, strong ethic, masisipag tayo, maganda ang English proficiency natin compared to other countries, and we have a cultural advantage because we are very familiar with the Western culture. Okay? Yun yung advantage natin. May hilig tayo manood ng Hollywood movies. We have a lot of relatives who are living in the US. So, very familiar tayo sa buhay ng mga Amerikano. So, hindi na tayo nahihirapan mag-adjust na makipagtrabaho sa kanila. And that's our advantage. So, right now, there are a lot of clients. Sabihin ko na lang sa inyo, kung iisipin niyo saturated na. Okay? There are a lot of clients, even agencies, that are approaching me asking if I can help them hire EVAs or if I can refer executive virtual assistants. Kasi kapag promote, parang meron tong isang client nagsabi sa akin, agency lumapit sa akin, sabi niya, Mia, can you help us? Kasi we posted an opening for an executive virtual assistant role. There were hundreds of applicants in just less than 24 hours. Pero while they go through all of the portfolios, the profiles, sobrang konti lang nung sobrang konti lang nung qualified. And then ito pa yung kicker dyan, yung mga qualified na may magandang background, kahit walang executive virtual assistant, hindi nagsho-show up sa interview. Foreign clients na to ha, hindi ito Pinoy interviewers, di ba? Ang dami nating nakukuhang hate pagdating sa Pinoy interviewers. These are foreign clients. Now, nung nag-deep dive kami as to bakit hindi sila nag-a-attend, it's because there's a lot of people who just send their applications without actually reading kung ano ba yung job description. So once in-invite sila sa interview, ayaw na nilang mag-attend kasi hindi pala sila, feeling nila hindi sila pasok dun sa job job description. So even if it feels like ang daming mga Pilipino na nag-a-apply, you have to learn the skills for you to be able to be confidently applying sa mga executive virtual assistant positions. Later on, sasabihin ko din sa inyo bakit executive virtual assistant ang mainit ngayon, ang talagang hinahanap ng mga clients ngayon. So yan yun. So let's take advantage of the fact that all of the foreigners are looking in the Philippines to hire VAs. One of the best ways to look for clients as a virtual assistant is to network or to build a network. This is something that I always talk about or I remind people ever since I started looking for my own direct client when I left an agency. I did apply through Upwork or other job platforms, but the only place where I found clients is through my network or through referrals of friends. Now, I want you guys to listen to this one because this is something that's very important. So I thought I saw this content creator and she posted something similar to what I was talking about.
Wanting to date wealthy people was a shallow thing, and it's really not. You know who's going... I used to think wanting to be around wealthy people, wanting to be friends with wealthy people, wanting to date wealthy people was a shallow thing, and it's really not. You know who's going to believe in your dreams more than anyone else when you tell them, who's not going to laugh at you, who's going to be like, oh yeah, that's totally possible. How do we go about doing that? How should you go about doing that? Is wealthy people. The people who are not going to laugh at you or your dreams are people who have made their dreams come true and are wealthy.
Ready to invest in real estate but don't want the hassle? Look no further and join Smart Crowd.
Okay?
So this is not just saying that you should be friends with wealthy people. It goes beyond that. It goes to you should surround yourself with people depending on the direction where you want to take your life to. So if you're someone who's just like me and a virtual assistant, I've been in this industry since 2021. So fairly new. It's just a little bit 3 years, a little bit more than 3 years since I started working in this industry. So I need to surround myself with like-minded people so that I can be successful just like them. And for me to be able to find clients, especially in the situation that I'm in right now, I just lost a client or I just left a VA agency. I need to start looking for a client. I have to surround myself with people who will help me get the client and get that the financial stability that I need. So this is just similar as to surrounding yourself with wealthy people if you want to become wealthy as well. Here, let's listen more.
I was just having a conversation with someone earlier, and I was like, yeah, I need to move out of my apartment within the next year. Like, it's time to move on, and I want to buy a house. And that's my goal, is to buy a house. And I had expected him to, laugh at me, because buying a house in LA is hard, and I am not there yet, to say the least. And he literally looks at me and goes, what area? And I was like, oh, you don't think it's funny that I'm like, this is very ambitious for me to just be like, I'm just going to buy a house. And he was like, well, the first step is figuring out where exactly you want to buy that house.
So just like in your virtual assistant career, if you're someone who's not confident in speaking in English, but you want to become a virtual assistant, and for you to become a successful VA, you need to find clients in another country, a foreign country, in US, Europe, or Australia. So if you're not going to succeed in the role if you're not good in your English communication skills, but since you need to have lots of practice, you have to start talking in English even if you're not that good. So you need to surround yourself with people who's not going to laugh at you while you're building your career, while you're learning how to improve, while you're upskilling. If you're surrounded by people who do not want to become virtual assistants, then they wouldn't understand the path that you're trying to take or the changes that you need to make to be successful in the role. So that's just what she's also saying in this video. Let's watch.
And then you figured it out from there. But you know what you want. That's the first step. Like, this is the way that these people think. And it's so refreshing. And if you are around people who have a poverty mindset all the time, I promise you, you're not going to go anywhere in life. Like, it makes all the difference in the world to surround yourself with people who are about action and who don't have a poverty mindset.
There you go. That's very nice. Also, this is something that I always try to remember is don't have that poverty mindset and don't surround your people who has a poverty mindset. So if you don't surround your people who has a poverty mindset. So if you converting it to your goal to becoming a successful virtual assistant, don't surround yourself with people who wants to stay in a corporate industry and they find happiness being in a corporate or in an on-site setup. If you don't want to be in an on-site setup, then start building a network of people who wants to transition to a work from home setup. Don't just stop yourself from growing just because your current friends are not in the same direction as you. Perfect example, I have a set of friends that I had since since high school. We stay in touch once in a while. I don't really go out with them as much as I did before. That's because my current friends right now are people who are also within the virtual assistant or the freelancing world. But it doesn't mean that I don't consider them as friends. They're still my friends. They're still my very good friends. Whenever there are big celebrations, I still join them. But I make sure that I surround myself with people who are in the same industry as mine so that I can continuously improve and upskill and learn from them and improve my being an executive virtual assistant. Let's hear more.
Friendships that I have when it comes to like business, like it's just like it bleeds into everything that you do. The way that these people respect their time, the way that they show up for their relationships, the way that they are direct, the way that like, you know, they figure out what they want and they go after what they want, and there's no game playing, there's no wasting time, there's no twiddling fingers. It's just like they're about that life.
So she talks more about what she likes about these people who have a wealthy mindset, and that's something that I would also like you to practice as an aspiring executive virtual assistant, or even if you are already an EVA or a virtual assistant, surround yourself with people who are in the same industry as you, because your network is your net worth. That's what they are always saying, and that's what I'm also always saying. Your network is your net worth. So make sure that you surround yourself with people who have a similar mindset as you currently have, because you're going to just push each other up, and you're going to help each other succeed in this industry that you're trying out. So make sure that you start building your friends, reach out to communities if you want to become a social media manager. Join communities for social media managers. If you want to become an executive virtual assistant just like mine, join my community. I have somebody who joins, who have been joining my Discord channel, and we've built our network. So just make sure that you find people who you feel like you're going to build a good relationship with and a good rapport with, and cultivate that relationship and that network. So if you want to learn more about how to become an executive virtual assistant, how to succeed in this role, all you have to do is join my community. You can start with my community, start with my Discord channel. Everything will be in the link in my profile. I also have a paid online course that you can enroll in, link in my profile as well. If you want a larger community, I have a free learning center that also has a WhatsApp community that you can join to. Everything again will definitely all be in the link in my bio. And if you want to learn more free content like this, just hit that follow button or subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. And I hope that you also succeed in becoming an executive virtual assistant and start building that network that you deserve so you can start growing in this role. This is my new favorite tool of 2024, especially when it comes to calendar management. And this is what you see on screen right now, and it is the software or application called Vimcal. Based on research, Vimcal has already been a software for the past few years already, but it's just now that I'm starting to learn about this application. When I first heard about Vimcal, they already had this software wherein there are amazing features that will definitely improve your calendar management. But they created a new one which is called Vimcal EA, and it has more features that are answering and targeting the pain points of executive virtual assistants. The nice thing about the features also for Vimcal EA is that it created features that when you use a typical Google Calendar, you'd have to use different softwares out of Google Calendar or Microsoft Outlook to be able to use those features, like creating polls and creating meeting slots. Hi everyone, my name is Mia and I'm an executive virtual assistant since 2021. Prior to being an executive virtual assistant, I did not have any experience in being a freelancer or a virtual assistant. After a few years of being an executive assistant, I was promoted to an operations manager, which means I've been handling a team of at least 15 executive virtual assistants and working closely with their clients as well. And one of the most challenging tasks that I do as an executive VA as well as the other executive virtual assistants is calendar management. That's why I'm very thankful that Vimcal EA is now available for executive virtual assistants. So if you are a client and you are watching this video, this is the first tool that you need to subscribe to for your executive virtual assistant. So you can already see the Vimcal desktop app here on our screen right now. So let me show you the first feature that is amazing in this application. Let's start off by saying that as long as you have either a Google Calendar or a Microsoft Outlook calendar, then you can already integrate that here on your Vimcal. Nice thing also with this is if your client already or your executives already gives you a full access to their calendar, you don't actually need to inform them that you are connecting their calendar to Vimcal. That's because they wouldn't need the approval anymore because they've already given you initial approval through your Google Calendar or your Microsoft Outlook calendar or any other type of calendar software that you're currently using. Next thing that's amazing is as soon as you log into your account, it will already mirror everything that's in your current or existing calendar. Anything that you also create or edit within Vimcal is immediately mirrored or reflected in your Google Calendar or Outlook calendar. Again, this is how Vimcal looks like. It's currently on dark mode because I love dark mode. Doesn't strain my eye. So the first feature that's very important here is that you can actually toggle or switch between the current calendar that you're using. So as you can see here, I created the EVA Academy by MJ account specifically for training. But I can also switch to the main calendar, which is my Mia Juan at the MJPH calendar. So if you have multiple clients, you can switch between clients or between accounts to make it the current calendar within your Vimcal view, so that whatever edits that you create on your current calendar is the one that would only be affected. The other calendars that are available here will not be affected, since the current calendar in our screen right now is EVA Academy by MJ at gmail.com. Another amazing thing with Vimcal, before we dive into the features, is that you can have multiple time zones on the same screen. You can only have a maximum of 2 views or 2 time zones. That would be your primary and your secondary time zones. But with Google Calendar, you can have a maximum of 5. So you have your primary time zone here as PHT or Philippine Standard Time, and then you can add 4 more. So for example, we have PST, we have Eastern, we can add London, and then we can add Dubai for Gulf Standard. So here you have the different views. So you have 5 views that you can, or 5 time zones that you can view all at once in your calendar. Now, as you can see here, everything is grayed out, which means they don't have matching times or regular working hours that matches, because they're all in different time zones. But if, for example, we can put in Dubai, which is not a totally opposite time zone as the Philippines, you would see that there is a grayed out slots, which means this is outside of the regular working hours. So probably our regular hours would be between 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. So it will only show you the similar working hours, meaning it's between 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Gulf Standard Time and 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Philippine Standard Time, which means these are the slots that you can create meeting that are within the working hours of both time zones. So that's the time zone feature of our Vimcal, which is great because you don't see this on any calendar platform or software, whether it be Gmail or Outlook. So let's remove our GST and let's look at the other features. So the next feature is creating or selecting your availability or available meeting slots for your client. So just click the button here below that says availability, or as you can see here, you can easily click the letter A and it will already open the availability slot. So we can click this for availability, and here are the different features. We have slots, or we can create meeting slots, we can create personal links, and we can also create group votes. We will go through each and every one of them, but for this video, we will talk about these slots. For the other videos, please wait for them to be uploaded in the next few weeks. So let's go back to this main screen and I will show you that if you press letter A, it will also open to the availability features. There you go. So we clicked letter A and here we have the slots feature. So when we are creating slots, you can see here on top, this is where the slots, the AI will show depending on the slots that you will create. And this is the portion also that you will copy and paste to your email. So we'll find that out later on. Or you will see it auto-populated once we select the slots. The next portion here is what we call Find Time. So this is an AI integrated in Vimcal that will actually already suggest times for you. So let me show you. Just click on Find Times. And here you will see the green area or the green boxes. And these are the suggestions of AI based on the available meeting slots in your calendar. You can choose to find times here. They have suggestion. For example, you only want it to be in the mornings. So you can click and move everything in the mornings. You can also move everything in the afternoon. Since our current calendar is the first week of September, or I believe second week of September, you can choose to move to the next week. There you go, that's September 16. And then you can also check on current work week, which is August 27th, but I haven't created any sample events on this view. And then you can also have weekend view. So since everything is available, it will provide you with different meeting slots. And then we also have an option too for your calendar to randomly select. So let's look at next week's. So here are all where the sample events are. So that's Find Times. As you use Vimcal regularly, it will recognize the time slots that you usually create for your client, so it will provide you with better suggestions. Now here you can also see a button that says previously sent. So if you've already created any meeting slots before, you can see previously sent meeting slots here. So this is the sample that I created, and you can see that you can reuse these meeting slots. You can either archive or you can also reuse these slots. And as I mentioned earlier, we already or the AI already found times for us or suggested times for us, and it actually auto-populated this area, and this is the email template that you can copy and paste to your email and send it out to the person who wants to meet with your client. So let's exit this out so that I can show you how to manually select the meeting slots. Okay, so now that we're here, let's click on A again to open the availability slots, and then let's find the meeting slots for your client. So for example, the person who would like to meet with your client is MJPH under MJ Weddings. Perfect. And then the name that will show here would be MJPH since they are the invited ones. Whatever contacts that are in your client's calendar and email will be automatically be available under attendees as well. If it's not available, you just can manually input the person's email. So now that we already have here, let's leave the duration at 30 minutes, but you can also send this to, or you can put this into 15, 25, 30, 45, or 60. So let's keep it at 30. And then you also have options to link your client's Zoom, Google Meet, phone, or no conferencing if it's going to be an in-person meeting. So since I haven't connected any of my accounts to Vimcal yet, we can keep it at no conferencing. But all you have to do is go to settings and just click on conferencing so that you can link in your Zoom or Google Meet accounts. Now with Vimcal, it is also integrated, or the location is powered by Google Maps. So you can input any location, just make sure that you know the address and you know it correctly so that you can input it here. For example, we are looking at McDonald's, New York. So there, let's say it's Times Square. See it auto-populates to that one, and it already provides you with the address based on the Google Map address. Now you can choose, since again our main calendar or our default calendar right now is EVA Academy by MJ. Now, the next feature here is the ignore all conflicts. So you can see here that we already have events. So if your client says that it's okay to have an event over or to have a meeting over lunch break, then you can put in a meeting slot, or you can choose this as a meeting slot, and you just have to make sure to toggle the ignore all conflicts, so that once we provide this link to whoever wants to meet your client, they can still choose this timeline because Vimcal can see that you ignored any conflicts. But if you close this radio button here, it will not provide this slot to the client or to the person that would like to meet with your client. You can still have it there in the calendar since you already chose it as a slot, but when the person clicks on this link, they wouldn't be able to see it since there is a conflict in your existing calendar. So let's choose the meeting slots. For example, we have this. We have also one in the afternoon. There you can see we already have this conflict. So we are going to keep the ignore conflicts radio button off so that you can see the sample wherein it wouldn't be able to choose that slot. And then let's have 2 hours here and there. So you can see it already provided you with the email template. All you have to do is click on copy clipboard. Once you copy this clipboard, this portion will disappear. Okay, but I would like you to see here it says create hold slots. So we have these holds for this particular person, MJPH. Now, you have to make sure before, when this wasn't available, I manually put in the holds. Why do we have holds? It's because we want to avoid giving that same meeting slot to another person who would like to meet with your client. Because the scenario might be, or the issue might be, they choose the same meeting slot, so you need to cancel one of those meetings. And we don't want that to happen because we're just wasting the time of the person that would like to meet with your client. So what we're going to do is we're going to create holds for the slots, and then let's put in a different color. Let's choose Sage and then hold for MJPH. And then we copy to clipboard. And once it's copied, this is going to disappear. There. It disappeared, but you can see that there are already holds. Now let's move our screen to our email. Okay, now that we are on our email, all you have to do is paste the one that you copied on the clipboard, and then remember that there is a conflict on September 6th. So all you have to do, so I can show you that the conflict will not show on the Vimcal booking slot. Let's click this one and it will open to the booking slot. As you can see here, there's no option for this for September 6th. Now you can say, you're gonna say September 3, September 4. Why does it show September 2 and September 3 here? That's because the calendar on Vimcal is on Philippine time. So, and my computer time is on Eastern Standard Time. So that's why it's showing Eastern Standard Time here on the screen. But it only shows PHT time here. Now, we can change this so that even on the email, your client or the person who wants to meet with your client already can view the Eastern time through that email template. Let's go back to Vimcal. So we are back here on Vimcal. All we have to do is go back to the select availability. Previously sent, this is the one that we just created right now. So let us reuse this slot. Now we're going to select or show every time zone. What we're going to do is under the time zone here, or you can click letter Z to show the time zones. Let's click on EDT or New York or Eastern Standard Time. and then it will show already the time slots there. You can see that there is an option for EDT and PHT. So let's copy this on our clipboard. Let's go back to our email. Let's delete this one and paste. There they can already see the time for Eastern Standard Time as well as the Philippine time, since they know that they will be meeting with someone from the Philippines. Okay, and then they can choose from here. Okay, so remember that we placed holds on our calendar on Vimcal. So once the client chooses a time, for example, they choose this time, click on confirm. MJPH, email is mjweddingsph@gmail.com. Let's schedule the event. Let's go back to Vimcal. You will see that the holds will disappear since the person we're meeting with or your client will be meeting with already chose the meeting slot. Yep. So this was 2 colors earlier, remember, because we created a new one with the view that shows Eastern Standard Time. That's why it already disappeared. But let's open this up and get the booking link. And let's go back. And let me show you that it will also disappear once we choose a meeting slot. Okay, so let's choose 9:30 p.m. Confirm. MJPH. mjweddingsph@gmail.com. And let's go back to Vimcal, and there you go. See that the events are already here, those 2 meeting slots that we created. Perfect. And that's how easy you can create meeting slots manually here on Vimcal. For the other videos, please wait for them to be uploaded in the next few weeks. The Paul Allen and Colorette controversy is such a very good example for us remote workers or virtual assistants. We have a lot of things that we can learn out of that situation. I don't want to say it's an issue, but okay, it's definitely an issue because we're talking about money and getting paid. So this Nina and Paul Allen Colorette situation is something that we can all definitely learn from, especially as remote workers, freelancers, or virtual assistants. If you're watching this and you are not a Filipino, I'm going to give you a context of what the situation is so that you would understand the rest of this video. But before we dive into that, hello everyone, my name is Mia and welcome to my channel. I am currently under the weather, so please don't mind my voice. If you are new in this channel, hello there. I am an executive virtual assistant or a remote worker or freelancer since 2021, and I am now an operations manager mentoring virtual assistants. If you want to learn more about how to succeed as a remote worker, a freelancer, or an executive VA, then hit that subscribe button or follow me on all of my socials. So we're talking about Paul Allen and Colorette. Now, Paul Allen is a content creator here in the Philippines. I just saw his content when I go through my FYP on TikTok. And Colorette is a local makeup brand, and the CEO of Colorette is Nina. So what happened is Colorette partnered with Paul Allen, content creator, to promote their brand as an influencer. So they did sign a contract, but unfortunately what happened is Paul Allen, the content creator, wasn't paid on time based on the deadline set in the contract. And after some follow-ups, unfortunately, he still was not paid on time. So payment is delayed. The content creator, Paul Allen, decided to post a video calling out this. He didn't actually mention what the brand is. He just mentioned that he wasn't paid. He still hasn't received his payment, and it's already late, past the due date or past the date that was mentioned on the contract. And then the CEO of Colorette answered in a TikTok video as well that she already reached out to Paul Allen and they already settled, or she already made a payment. And she informed, or she said in that video, that the reason for the delay is because the person in charge of setting the payments were out sick for 2 weeks. If you want to watch that video, I'll pause here.
Makikita mo ang CEO ay pa-beach-beach, pag-alagad. Busy yata sa love life, actually.
Hi guys, sorry ganito itsura ko kasi kakagising ko lang. First and foremost, I want to say na yes, I saw the video. And number two, we acknowledge our lapse there. So yesterday when I found out about it, I tasked our marketing manager to reach out to Paul Allen right away and to tell him what happened internally that may have caused the delay. To give you some context behind it is the person who is tasked to consolidate the contracts fell ill. So 2 weeks na kasi siyang hindi pumapasok and hindi lang na turn over yung contract sa amin. Kaya, hindi siya na-process right away. So, yes, there has been a delay on the payment of a balance of 6,000 pesos to Paul Allen. We acknowledge that naman. We apologize and then shinare naman namin kay Paul. He was very understanding naman in the call. What I did now, medyo ngarag-ngarag ako. Inabunuhan ko na lang muna po. Here's the proof of payment. Actually, dahil kakagising ko lang nagkamali nga ako. Mali yung amount na napindot ko, pero okay lang. So, yun. Again, so sorry for the delay and thank you for your patience. Rest assured na next time we'll put na lang more stringent measures in place to avoid delays like this. Hindi naman talaga namin siya gusto. Yun lang. Happy weekend!
I'll tag it also in the caption down below so you'll have more context. But if you're watching this outside of the Philippines and you're not a Filipino, you wouldn't understand because it's in Tagalog. So at least now you already have a context of what happened. Now, I don't do this kinds of videos. You know that I'm all for tutorials and all of those things. But when I was watching this video, it really hit, or well, I was watching the back and forth of the video. Something was triggered inside of me that I really wanted to talk about because it did hit close to home, especially as virtual assistants when it comes to contracts. Because just like Paul Allen, he considers himself as a content creator or an influencer, which is also one of a niche of a remote worker or a freelancer. So it really did hit close to home. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because there were so many things that I realized watching the videos that we can actually learn from as remote workers so that we can protect ourselves as remote workers or service providers. At the same time, I also saw something that we can learn from the side of the brand of Nina and Colorette, something that would definitely help us grow as business owners, because as service providers or freelancers and remote worker, we are actually entrepreneurs or small business owners. We provide service to the clients based on our niche or our specialty. So we are already a CEO of our own small businesses. Now, if you are someone who has a small agency, probably you're already hiring a team of VAs because you have a lot of clients, then you actually have a small business already. Or if you are a marketing agency, a lot of our fellow virtual assistants, especially social media managers and marketers, are already growing into small marketing agencies. So you will already be someone who will lead people. Now, if you're like me, I am now an operations manager. From being a virtual assistant or executive VA, I was promoted to an operations manager, which is a senior role or a leadership role, and I have to mentor and also have people working under me. So it's very important that we also learn something from the side of a leader. That's why it's very nice, or it's very important that I talk about this so that we learn something from it. There are actually just 3 points that I want to talk about, or something that I learned from this video. Now, the first one, of course, is very obvious, which is the importance of a contract as virtual assistants. In one of my posts in Facebook, there was a comment asking about a contract So the comment read was, thank you for sharing this. I'm wondering if you could also share insights on what is the right thing to do if you are a freelancer and the client does not offer or provide a contract. Do you proactively create a contract of your own and provide it to the client? So this is a very great question. The comment was actually in the reel that I created that I will be talking about this specific content. So as a virtual assistant, I mentioned earlier that as a freelancer or a remote worker, we are already actually a small business owner. We are an entrepreneur, which means that we should have our own contract already because we are providing service. Some clients would actually already have their own contract that they would provide virtual assistants, especially if this client is used to working with VAs. But if you are someone who's new in the field and your client is also hiring a VA for the first time, I don't think there will be, or the client will provide a contract for you. So it's very important that you already have a contract. Now, there's two scenarios that I mentioned. One is the client would provide a contract. If the client provides a contract, you have to make sure that you read all of the contract before signing it. You also have to remember that before closing a deal with a client, you have to first read the terms and conditions of your contract. Another thing that you have to remember, if the client is providing you the contract is still negotiable as long as you haven't signed it yet. Meaning, if there is a term or a condition in the contract that you would like to change, probably your rate, how frequent you are going to be paid, if you want to change it that your client needs to give a down payment first, or probably you want to add a provision that says you will get an increase after 1 year, or a provision that will detail how many paid leaves. That's okay. So I was saying like that, and anyway, you can change the number of paid leaves that you're going to have for a year. So make sure, or always remember, that if a contract is not yet signed, you can definitely negotiate the terms and make changes. So you can go back and forth with your client before you sign it off and start working for your client. Now, if your client doesn't have a contract, then you will be the one to provide the contract for your client. I know I discussed this in one of the modules in my online course on how to create contracts, because there are already templates available online with Google Docs, and find it there. And you can also use AI such as Gemini or ChatGPT to help you create a contract with detailed terms and conditions. Don't be afraid to create a contract, no matter how simple it is, as long as all of your terms and conditions are there, which should include how much you're gonna get paid, when your due dates are, or paid time offs, all of those things. Make sure that everything is in the contract. As long as it's there, then you are secured with the contract. Now that you know that you or your client can provide the contract before you start working together, it's also very important to remember that the contract is not valid unless it is signed. Since we're doing everything virtually, how can your client sign it? You can use a Filipino-owned and created platform called Sign Secure by Unawa. I will put the link down below. You can sign up for that for free, and you can send the contract to your client and have it legally, digitally signed using this platform. I will talk about Sign Secure in a different video so that you'll understand the features of Sign Secure. Now, you can also use other digital signature software such as I Love PDF or Adobe Sign, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'll put all of the links for those different platforms in the caption down below. Now, in terms of what happened with Paul Allen and Nina, what we should remember there, that we should include in the contract late payment fees. Okay? So, you already have the deadline or the due date when you need to be paid. And then also include in the contract that it would say if you are not, or the client does not provide the payment on time, then there should be an additional charge of X amount if it's late. If it's 1 week late, X amount. If it's 2 week late, X amount. So you just have to increase and then just put in some percentage of increase as weeks go by so that you are secured. And the client would actually have that sense of urgency to make sure that they pay you on time, or else they will get some penalties. Now, if you are a content creator and you're watching this, usually all of the time it is the brand who will give you a contract. Now, take note, learn from the situation of Paul Allen and Nina. Make sure when they give you a contract, if you haven't signed it, you can negotiate the contract. To secure your payment and make sure that you get it on time, ask them to adjust it wherein there is a late payment fee if they don't pay you on time based on the due date in the contract. So that's my big advice for you guys, because that's what we also do as virtual assistants when we give a contract to our clients. And you can also do this with your brands if you are watching this and you are a content creator. The next point that I'd like to talk about that we learned from this video is the importance of being professional, especially in the digital age. Everything now is recorded online. I saw this one creator said that, I think they called out Paul Allen and said, you should have not talked about this online. You should have messaged them privately. But we can't force people to do that. You know, at this day and age, especially for a content creator, everything is digital. Everything we're doing it online. Now, as service providers or as the brand, as the client, we should already understand that when we're dealing with people, especially remote workers or freelancers, especially content creators, it's very important that we understand the risk that we are taking, because if we don't also provide them with good customer service and we don't take care of our content creators, we don't take care of our virtual assistants, then they would definitely resort to calling you out online. They're working online, so what do you expect? Everything will be recorded digitally. So you have to also take care of your brand, you have to take care of your company, you have to take care of your image and your integrity, either as a brand or as a client. That you have to make sure that when you're dealing with remote workers, with freelancers, with content creators, that you also take care of them so that they don't call you out. It's not like the 80s or the 90s wherein every conflict should be resolved privately. No, it's no longer like that. At this day and age, things change. And the generation right now is everything they do, everything online. And most of us are freelancers. Everything we do or the work we do is online. So we have to understand the risk right now of businesses, of brands, of clients. Okay? So we always have to remember to act professionally, whether we are resolving a conflict internally or privately, or resolving a conflict in the setting of social media audiences. So that was a quick point. My next point is something that's very important, especially if you are in a leadership role or in a management role, especially if you're working with subordinates or with the team. This is something that you should always remember and should always be on the top of your list as a soft skill, especially if you're a manager or a leader. You always have to make sure that you take accountability for your actions and the actions of your team. Just to give you an example, when I decided to have my own business as a wedding and events planner, this was way back in 2017, I have coordinators who work for me. But As a wedding coordinator, you can't be at the same place all the time. If you are the owner like me, I can be with the bride and my assistant coordinators will be in the church. Somebody's assigned in buffet. Somebody is assigned at the reception area with the technician and all of those things. So I can't be in different places all at the same time. So I trust my people to do whatever it is that I told them to do based on what department they're focusing on. But if they make a mistake, I don't throw them under the bus. And this is something that I really treasure and I always teach those who would like to move up the ladder. Do not throw your team under the bus, especially if you are the face of the brand. Now, the name of my wedding and events planning business is MJ Weddings and Events, and that's my name. So when things go south, I don't go to the client or the bride and tell them, oh, I didn't know that happened. My technical coordinator was assigned to that, so that's his fault. I don't do that. Never do I face the client and tell them it's somebody else's fault because I was doing something else. I never throw my team under the bus. Whenever there's an issue, I am the one who will face the client. I am the one who will apologize, and I will be the one to say that's my fault. Okay? I never tell my client, oh, I'm sorry, but I just want you to understand that I wasn't there. It was actually my assistant head coordinator that was assigned in that department, and I didn't know what happened. I don't do that. I don't do that. And this is something that I hold dear in my heart, being accountable, especially as a manager, as a leader, and as a business owner, because I want my team to understand that I have their back whatever happens. I have their back. If they make a mistake, they are accountable to me. They are not accountable to the client, because I am the boss, I am the leader, I am the head coordinator. Okay? Same goes if you are a manager. If I'm the one facing the client and something goes wrong, then I am going to be accountable to that, and I will tell the client that I apologize for the mistake and I will make sure that I do better next time. And if my subordinate made a mistake, my subordinate will be the one accountable to me, and I will ask my subordinate what happened, what went wrong, and then we will fix it. We will fix it together, because that's something that you learn from, and then you will definitely grow after that. You and your subordinate will grow after that mistake. Being accountable is one sign of a really good leader, a really good manager, a good senior manager, a good COO, or a good CEO. You don't throw your team under the bus. You don't make excuses. Okay? Put yourself in the shoes. You would probably think, why do I take blame for something I didn't do when it was done by somebody else? Even if you're a leader, of course, you will call out the person who made the mistake. Okay? Why not bring him front, and why not bring him in front and say, this is the person who made the mistake? Why not do that? Now, to answer that, put yourself in the position of the customer. Let's say, for example, in a restaurant, when you have an issue with the waiter, you'll get mad with the waiter, but then you also make it a point to call the manager. You ask them, where's your manager? I want to talk to your manager. Okay? Because you know that the manager is the head of the establishment. If the owner is there, of course you will talk to the owner. Okay? You ask, where's the manager? Is the owner here? I want to talk to the owner because I'm not satisfied with the service of this waiter. You don't tell the waiter. Of course you'll get mad with the waiter, but you always look for the manager. Okay? Because you know that the manager will actually be the one to sanction the person that you're talking to, the waiter. Okay? So you look for the manager. Now, if the manager goes and says to you, I didn't make the mistake. This is not my fault. This is the fault of the waiter. You don't talk to me. You talk to the waiter. That's his fault. I'm not liable for this because I didn't do this. Okay? How would you feel as a customer that a manager will tell that to you? Or an owner will say that. For example, an owner goes to you and say, okay, what's your issue? Oh, the waiter didn't give me the correct order. Oh, you talk to the waiter because that's his fault. That's not the fault of the restaurant. That's not my fault as an owner. How would you feel if an owner or a manager says that to you? What you would like to hear from the owner or the manager is that the owner would say, I am sorry that you feel this way. We'll make sure that we fix everything. We'll give you a refund. We'll give you a new food. We'll not let you pay. You would like to hear that from the owner, right? You don't want to hear that from the waiter because the waiter can't do anything. Same goes with this situation. When you are a leader or you are a manager, you always have to make sure that you are accountable for your subordinates or for your team's action, because your customer or your client, of course, would want to hear that from you. They don't want to hear you making excuses, because you are the face of the brand. You are the face of the company. Okay? So always make sure when you are already at a position, a leadership position, that you are accountable for your actions and never put your team under the bus. If it's a grave misconduct, apologize directly to the client. Tell them that it's your fault. You are sorry. If the situation is something that it's a terminable action, then terminate your subordinate or your team member internally. But don't tell your client that you are going to terminate that person. What you're going to do is you're going to apologize, say it's your fault. Yes, it's our fault. We're going to make amends. We're going to correct the situation. We're going to learn from this. And then internally, you can terminate the person. You can sanction them. You can suspend them. But don't ever say that it's somebody else's fault, especially if you are the business owner or if you are the leader or the manager. Now, I hope you learned something from the things that I just talked about and the things that we've learned from this situation. It's a very, very good example of what we do as service providers or as remote workers, and what we also do as business owners or entrepreneurs. Okay, so that's just really a gold mine of learnings that we saw from this situation. So I hope you learned something from this video. If you want to learn more about things like this, how to be successful in the remote work industry, become a freelancer, a remote worker, then all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and hit the follow button on all of my social media platforms. If you want to see some details of the things that I talked about, everything will be in the caption down below, especially all of the links to the important things that you need to know if you would like to succeed in this remote work industry. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.
Bangong Palmolive hair? Kaya yan. Thanks to Palmolive Naturals.
This is my new favorite tool of 2024, especially when it comes to calendar management. And this is what you see on screen. I use 3 search executive assistant. If you're interested and looking for work as a virtual executive assistant at curious ka ano bang ginagawa, then this story time is for you, so keep watching. For the past month, ang focus ko na task for my client is to plan an personal event for my client. List of the things na ginawa ko to plan this event for my client is 1. Look for a venue, look for a caterer, purchase wine bottles, purchase beers, purchase cupcakes, and to book a rental vendor. Rental, ibig sabihin yan yung mga tables and chairs, yan. So, it's kind of 1 month in the making yung buong event na yon. Or siguro a little more than a month, around 2 months or 1.5 months. I'll go into detail of each of the tasks na ginawa ko sa kanila for this event on the succeeding videos or posts. So basically, planning this event actually consists of a lot of research, and then since virtual natin siya ginagawa at since kasi virtual executive assistants tayo, how do you think na pull off natin yon? marami kang gagawin in terms of communication, yung mga sending out of emails to all of the suppliers, inquiring, and even if it's virtual, meron naman tayong way to call these vendors. So, madalas talaga tinatawagan ko sila to make sure na malinaw lahat ng communication namin. But every time after I make a call sa mga vendors na to, I put in the details of our calls sa email and then I send it out to them. Ang importante kasi when planning an event, you have to make sure na lahat ng communication mo with your vendors are black and white. So to cut the story short, na search ko lahat ng vendors, nabook ko lahat ng vendors, nabili ko lahat ng kailangan bilhin, and today is the day, right now, right this very moment, nangyayari yung party ng client ko, and everything is flawless. I think may isang vendor lang na late, but overall, I think they are having fun. They messaged me earlier saying to thank me for coordinating the whole event, and I'm just waiting for hopefully one of them to send me photos just to make sure that everything went well, pero so far naman so good. Even the vendors thanked me on how detailed I was in providing them with all of the information needed for them to be able to execute everything on the day itself. So if you feel like kayang-kaya mo yung trabaho na yon, just click the link in my bio and apply. I'm going to show you an example video of how I do my research as a virtual executive assistant for my client. This is one of the recent tasks that I did for my client, is to look for an airport transfer that will bring him to his airport hotel to a location. This is somewhere in Europe. So let's just say this is in Italy. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use Google, and then I will search for the specific word, which is airport transfers in Italy. The first searches, I will check them all out. I will right click and open a link in new tab. This is because I don't want this page to disappear. So I click on all of them, and then I will check on each one by one. Now, since this is an airport transfer, I will be paying for this in advance. So I want to make sure that these are trusted vendors. I will open another tab. We'll go and search Necto transfers.com review. I am looking for this one, Trustpilot. Going to also check out TripAdvisor. Then it looks like they have very good reviews out of 2,200 reviews. And then I just try to read through most of the reviews. And then, of course, I also check TripAdvisor. But with TripAdvisor, I just have to make sure that this is the correct company that they're reviewing. See, it says Connecto Tours. So it's not the Connecto transfers that I'm looking at. So I just exit. Do the same thing for Transfero and airport taxi transfers. Once I choose which one has the good reviews, I book one for my client, and that's it. It's important to note that when you are a virtual executive assistant, you can't just rely highly on what you see on Google. You have to always double check. Even if they have an amazing looking website, you always have to double check the reviews of each of the company that you are going to book for your client, especially if your client has no experience with this specific vendor. Always have to make sure to double check. And you already saw how we do that, so you can do it on your end.
Spin your passion into a business with Shopify and break sales records with the world's best converting checkout. You heard me, the world's best converting checkout. Your customers can check out
What